Okay, so another thing I want to talk about, because I really haven't talked about it that much, is Seven's Pinballorama. What the heck is it? So I've made some cracks here and there in some of my videos that I was a pinball prepper, and I was prepping. All these machines are for when the zombie apocalypse comes, then I'll be ready for it because I'll have all my pinball machines, stuff like that, right? I've also made mention that there was a possibility of something opening up in the near future. That fell through. But anyway, so what Seven's Pinballorama is it started with I had bought a machine, and then I bought another machine, and then I bought two more, and then I bought four more. And they were all a little bit different, and people were saying, I really like coming over to your house and playing pinball. These are pinball people that have played the top 10 pinball machines. And they're like, I really like your collection because things are very different. All the machines kind of have a different objective, which is why I was collecting them that way. I wasn't just buying the top 10 machines out there. I wanted ones that offered sort of a different type of play. Some that have pop bumpers, some that don't, some that have a lot of drop targets, some that don't, some that have the little elements of chaos that is introduced to send the ball off in different directions, things like that. And that's how I was building my collection, and people seemed to like it. And I thought, well, you know what? Why not just, pinball is huge right now, so why not just get a whole bunch of machines? We'll put them all under a single roof and let's start an arcade. So in theory, that sounds great. But what I learned was I'm in the greater Vancouver, BC area, and each little city and neighborhood kind of all have their different arcade laws. They have a bunch of things left over from the 80s when arcades were hugely popular, and the Space Invaders and the Donkey Kongs were all the rage, and kids were throwing quarters in them like crazy. I mean, I grew up in that era, and I did that. Hung out in front of the arcades, and we would hang out there for hours because that's where our friends knew that that's where we were going to be, and we would meet. We didn't have cell phones. We couldn't email them. We just sort of went in one location and hung out until everybody else showed up, right? That doesn't happen in arcades anymore. I know some people that have opened up newer arcades, and it isn't like it used to be. But the problem is getting a lot of these districts and municipalities and things to kind of get with the times. So I'm in Mission, BC, and I wanted to open up something here because it's sort of southeast of Vancouver, but there's a lot of other kind of big areas around it. I can get a space in Mission for fairly inexpensive and open up, but apparently the mayor and the district, they have a thing against arcades. They remember, back in the 80s when that's where the hooligans hung out or something. And I had found a space, and I had to have the district come down and inspect it for fire codes and things like that. And after that inspection, the very next council meeting, they introduced language that banned arcades in that zone. So kind of shut me down. And because of that, I don't really trust them to. There are a couple of other zones where they're available in Mission, but I don't trust them to not do the same thing. They hate tattoo parlors and stuff like that. So just recently, actually right now, they were trying to put to increase the business license fees of businesses they don't like tattoo parlors and pawn shops. They were trying to bump those up to $10,000 a year just to kind of push them out, which I think is really kind of dirty. And you may not like the business, but they're legal businesses, so let them do their thing, just like they're a cafe or a shoe store, right? Why single them out? And especially like tattoo parlors aren't like tattoo parlors of the old either. Like everybody has tattoos now, so it's getting municipalities up with the current times is a little tough. Other areas in the Mission, in the Vancouver, BC area, some of them, Abbotsford was proactive a few years back. They looked at some of their laws and they were like, we don't need arcade laws anymore, and they just nuked them. So they're legal 100% in Abbotsford. They just fit under like indoor recreational facilities or something like that. No special rules on them. So as long as you can open an indoor recreational facility in that zone, go for it. They also got rid of a law that had something to do with walking your cow on the street, which I think is awesome. They should have left that in, damn cows. I think Vancouver proper, you have to be over 18 to enter an arcade. New Westminster had banned arcades. They just said no way. But a friend of mine, Brad, he is opening up an arcade in New Westminster right now. He had worked with the council for a couple of years and convinced them they're giving him a temporary business license for 2 years, just to kind of see how it goes. And I think that, you know, since arcades and pinball and things like that are all kind of coming back, it's just going to take some time. They're going to have to do some temporary permits and show them that, look, you know, they're wayward youth. They're not going to be hanging out in front of this stupid arcade. There's just going to be a lot of people of various ages that come in and play. We set up about 10 machines in the Abbotsford Fair last year, and it was amazing. We had kids of all ages that had never even played a pinball machine, never seen them. They didn't know what they were all about. Just totally fascinated. It was really cool to see. And they were, we had them on coin drop, but they were cheap. Like one of them, I think, was a quarter for 2 plays or something like that. And they just gravitated to them and they were just hooked. They just thought they were the coolest things. One kid was just determined to roll the score reels on one of the machines. It was an old, it was volley pinball machine, and he wanted to see what it looked like when he rolled them, and he put his stack of quarters down and he was like, I'm gonna do this. It was awesome. And seeing adults that hadn't seen pinball machine for years, they're like, oh, I remember these things, and just totally getting into it. And that's the shop that I want to open. I want a place where people can come and they can experience pinball again. And I want it to be all ages. I don't want it to be a barcade. I want kids to be able to come in and play. And I also want to do workshops. There's a lot of fascinating things going on underneath this glass. And I've showed numerous people of all ages, you know, 10-year-olds up to 50-year-olds. You know, you pop the hood and they get a look under it and they're just fascinated. And it would be really neat to be able to sort of inspire kids to get interested in mechanics and electronics by way of pinball. And there's artwork to be done. Like I've got enough videos of me painting these machines. So there's a lot of things to kind of draw people of all ages into not only just playing, but fixing and repairing and painting, and there's a lot of aspects involved in a pinball machine that I don't think a lot of people really realize, but it's cool. So I want to have workshops where we can crack them open, we can show people how to fix pop pumpers. Like all the videos that I'm making, do workshops on that, right? Get people that have hands-on experience working on these things. And a lot of people have machines in their basements, or they inherited machines from maybe their parents or something like that. They don't know how to work on them, but they're not really inspired to take them to a shop and have them worked on. Not to belittle the people who do work on pinball machines, but it can be expensive, right? And if it's only something that they're only kind of interested in, and they just need to fix the flippers or something, come to a workshop, learn how to do it, fix the flippers, and then if there's something major that needs to be done, then like, oh, now I love pinball, now I got to get the whole thing working. They take them to the shop and call the guy out to repair them or whatever. But there's a lot of things that just sort of the general person can do to make their machines run great. So that's also part of what I want the arcade to be, and have interactive displays that show this is how pop bumpers work, this is how flippers work, this is how score reels work, and you know, people can come and push a button to trigger the action, and they can see it happening right in front of their eyes. So that's what Seven's Pinballorama is all about, and making the videos is just part of that, right? So